Alright, boys and girls, today we're going to do lesson 5.3, comparing and ordering fractions. So, by the end of this lesson, you should be able to do these three learning objectives. So let's get started. Alright, so comparing fractions. There are 4 different ways you can compare fractions, and it depends on what fractions you have, which method you're going to use. Let's get started. So number 1 is with unit fractions. Okay, we talked about this at the beginning of the unit. A unit fraction is that has 1 in the numerator and any number in the denominator. If you have all unit fractions, then all you're going to do is look at the denominator. And the larger the denominator, the smaller the pieces. Okay, so let's look at an example of that. Here we go, we have fraction 6. If I am comparing 1/6 to 1/2, do you see how they both have 1 on the numerator? Okay, so that's the same. But I need to look at the denominator. This one has 2, it cuts the whole into 2 parts, and this one has 6, it's cutting the whole into 6 different parts. So because the denominator is larger, that means the pieces are smaller. And I always like to think of cake, because I really like cake. So if somebody offered me 1/6 of a piece, I think, oh, it's cut into 6 big pieces. But if somebody asks me 1/2, I think it's cut into 2 giant pieces because it's only 2. So yes, please give me the half piece of cake. Okay? So that's how you do it with unit fractions. This also works if the numerators are the same. So if it's not 1 and they're both 2. So if it was 2/4 and 2/3, it's the same thing. I would look at which denominator is larger. Okay, let's move on. The second way is if you have the same denominator. And if you have the same denominator, all you have to do is compare the numerators. And since the numerator represents the parts, the number of parts, the fraction with the larger numerator is the bigger number. So let's look at that example. Okay, here we go. We're going to compare because we have the same denominator. Remember, we're going to look at fourths. So if I'm comparing 1/4, which is this pink part, with 2/4, which is both of them together, I'm going to look at the numerator. Well, 2 is bigger than 1, so I know 2/4 is bigger than 1/4. So that's how you compare, because you're looking at the numerator. Let's try it again. So if I'm looking at 12ths, and I look at, let's say, 4/12 and 7/12, well, 4/12 just goes up to here. 7/12 goes all the way. So 7/12 is larger than 4/12. Okay, pause and process if you need to. Alright, the third method for comparing fractions is when you have different numerators and different denominators. So what you're going to have to do is find a common denominator, and I'll show you how to do that. So the first thing you do is find the least common multiple. The least common multiple, or as you might see it as LCM, is just the multiple that are alike and that they're common, okay? And it's the lowest one. So a multiple, we know a multiple of a number is, for example, 5. The multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. It's what you get when you multiply that number as a factor, okay? So the LCM, after you find that, you're going to multiply each fraction, so you're going to have to multiply 2 times, and you're going to multiply both the denominator and the numerator by the factor that gives you the LCM, and then you compare the numerators. So let's look at what it means. Okay, here we're comparing 3/4 and 2/3. Well, 3, the multiples are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and, 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16. Well, I said 12 2 times, so 12 is the least common multiple. So what I'm going to do to get to 12 here, what do I need to multiply 4 by? I need to multiply 4 by 3 to get a common denominator. So as we know with fractions, anything I do to the top is the bottom. So I multiply by 3/3 and I get 9/12, because multiplying you just go straight across. I do the same thing to the other part, and then I compare the numerators. And 9 is greater than 8. So 9/12 is greater than 8/12. Okay, and visually, if you want to see it, we have right here 2/5 and 1/2, and they put them common denominators, 4/12 and 5/10. So 2/5 is less than 1/2. Okay, pause and reflect, and then I'll go on to the next part. Alright, we're back for part 2, and we have one more method for comparing fractions. Okay, this is a little trick as well. It's called cross multiplying. So, when you cross multiply, you are going to, you can go back and read these directions, but I'm actually going to show you on the picture because I think it makes more sense. Okay, so I have two fractions. As you can see, their numerators are different and their denominators are different. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply across from fraction 1, the numerator here, by the opposite fraction's denominator. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 15, and I get 45. So I'm going to write the answer above the numerator that I multiplied. And then I'm going to do the same thing for 9 times 5. And I'm going to write the answer here. If the answers are equal, then the fractions are equal. If let's say I got a 42 here, then 9/15 would be greater than 3/5. Okay, I didn't, but let's just pretend. So when you cross multiply, you go from one numerator to the denominator, the opposite denominator, and write the answer above the numerator. Okay, and then do the same thing for the other numerator and denominator, and then that's how you can compare. Okay, so I just taught you 4 ways to compare fractions, and we're going to use that when we're ordering fractions next. So let's look at that. Okay, ordering fractions. So I have 1/8, 1/3, 1/12, 1/5, and 1/12 again. Okay, I think it's supposed to be 1/10 somewhere in there. But and I'm going to put them in order from greatest to least. I want you to pretend one of these is 1/10 as well. Okay, I want you to try to do that on your own. I would use method number 1 that I taught you, looking at unit fractions. So you're going to look and compare the denominators and put them in order based on that. Okay, pause the video and then come back and check. Alright, so let's check first, because the largest one is the one with the smallest denominator. We have 1/3. Then we go to 1/5, 1/8, 1/10. Remember I told you one of these is 1/10, and 1/12. Okay, so that is the correct answer. Next, I want you have this set of fractions, and you're going to, same thing, do it from greatest to least. Now, here's the difference. We have all the same denominators. So what you're going to look at is you're going to put, in order from greatest to least, the numerators. So go ahead and pause the video and try it on your own, and then check your answer. Alright, so putting them from greatest to least, we should have 10/10, 9/10, 5/10, 3/10, and 1/10. Okay, and 10/10 we know is 1 whole. But I just wanted to see you written out with numerator and denominator. And lastly, probably the most challenging, because you're going to have to get common denominators. Okay, we have 1/2, 3/4, 6/16, and 5/8. Okay, you're going to do it from least to greatest this time. So the last 2 we did greatest to least. This time we're going to do least to greatest. And I'm going to give you a hint. The LCM is 16. Go ahead and pause and try to do it on your own. Alright, so when we do that, guys, what we get is 1/2 equals 8/16, 3/4 equals 12/16, 6/16 equals 6/16, because I didn't have to multiply that one, and 5/8 equals 10/16. Putting them in order, it would be 5/16, sorry, or 6, that's a 6, you just can't see it. 6/16, 8/16, 10/16, and 12/16. Okay, sorry, you can't see that. That is how you order fractions. So you have to decide which way you're going to use and then go to work. Alright, so lastly we're going to work on adding fractions. So this lesson, I'm looking at the time right now, we probably are going to have 3 parts to this, but I'm going to at least go over the steps for adding fractions in this part. So we have 4 steps. First, you're going to find the least common multiple. Using the LCM, you're going to make denominators the same, and then you're going to add the numerators together and keeping the denominator the same. Okay, so those are the 4 steps. Alright, so we have our 3 steps for adding fractions, okay, and I'm going to show you what it actually looked like. So here we go, we have 1/4 plus 1/3. What we're going to first do is find the least common multiples. So what are the multiples of 4? Pause the video and try to figure that out and then check. Alright, the multiples for 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. Now, for 3, what are the multiples for 3? Try to figure that out, pause the video and check. Alright, 3 is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and I found our least common multiple. Can you identify it? What is it? It is 12. Okay, so we have our LCM. Now, we're going to have to make the denominators the same. So we have 1/4, and to get 4 to 12, I have to multiply by 3. So I'm going to multiply by 3/3 because that's equal to 1, and I do the same to the top as the bottom. So 1 times 3, when I multiply, just go across, is 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Now next one, we have 1/3. I'm multiplying it by 4/4. 1/3 times 4/4, 1 times 4 is 4, 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, step number 3, you add the numerators together. 3 plus 4 equals 7, and then I keep the denominators the same, so it's 7/12. So now you are going to try. Okay, I want you to pause the video, try this on your own, and then we'll check. Okay, the answer you should have gotten was 19/15, and if you put it in a mixed number, great, but we're going to do that here together, okay? So how I put it in a mixed number, I say 19 divided by 15 equals 1, and I have 4 remainder, and that goes in the numerator, so it's 1 4/15. 1 and 4/15. Let's see how we actually solve that. If you didn't know, I'll work it out for you. So our least common multiple is 15. To get to 15, I needed to multiply 5 by 3. So I do the same to the top as the bottom. So 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, for 2/3, I multiplied 2/3 by 5/5 because 3 times 5 gives me 15. Okay, once I do that, I get 9 and 10, and I add them, and that's when I get 19. Okay, so that was a little practice on adding fractions. That is all I have for you today. So let's see, we did equivalent fractions really quickly at the end. Comparing fractions, we did a lot of that, and ordering fractions. Okay, so you have a head start on adding fractions. All right, good job. I know this one was a little long, but come prepared to learn tomorrow, and can't wait to see you. Bye.